Hello, everyone. Have you ever met someone with incredible talent, someone who could draw effortlessly, solve problems quickly, or pick up skills almost instantly, but somehow never achieved much in life? Now think of someone else. Maybe they weren't the most gifted, didn't stand out at first, but they kept showing up, practicing, improving little by little, and over time they achieved something remarkable. That is the quiet power of consistency. We live in a world that glorifies talent. From a young age, we're told that success belongs to the naturally gifted, those who are born with special abilities. Talent gets the spotlight, the applause, the early rewards. But what we rarely talk about is what happens behind the scenes, what happens when the applause fades and the real journey begins. That's where consistency takes over. Talent may open the door, but consistency is what keeps you in the room. Talent might give you a head start, but consistency is what takes you across the finish line. You don't have to be the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented person in the room. You just have to be the one who refuses to quit. That's what makes all the difference in the long run. Think of any great athlete, entrepreneur, artist, or leader. What do they all have in common? Not just talent, but an unshakable commitment to keep going, to keep improving, to show up every single day, regardless of how they feel. Talent might get you noticed, but consistency gets results. It builds habits. It builds trust in yourself. It turns average people into extraordinary achievers. Consistency doesn't make headlines because it's not flashy. It's not glamorous. It's often boring, repetitive, and unseen. But that's exactly why it works. While talent waits for the right moment, consistency builds brick by brick, day by day. While talent gets distracted, consistency stays focused. While talent burns out, consistency endures. In the long run, talent will fail without commitment. A gifted student who never studies will eventually fall behind. A brilliant musician who never practices will be outperformed. A natural leader who lacks discipline will lose influence. On the other hand, an average person with consistency will learn, grow, and eventually rise above those who relied only on talent. This speech is not meant to dismiss talent, it's meant to reveal the bigger truth. Consistency beats talent when talent doesn't work consistently. Over the next few parts, we'll explore why society overrates talent, how repetition shapes success, why discipline beats passion, and how endurance, not brilliance, is the real secret to long-term achievement. So whether you feel talented or not, know this: you already have the most powerful tool for success within your reach: consistency. And if you're willing to use it, there's no limit to what you can achieve. We live in a world obsessed with natural-born talent. From the moment we step into school, sports, or the arts, we are taught to admire the gifted. We applaud the child who can solve a math problem in seconds, the athlete who runs faster than everyone else without even trying, or the singer who has a voice like magic. We give them trophies, praise, and attention. And in doing so, we unknowingly send a message to the rest of the world: if you're not naturally talented, you might as well give up. But that message is not only wrong, it's dangerous. Because talent, while valuable, is never enough on its own. Let's get one thing clear: talent is real. Some people are born with certain advantages. A person might have a natural sense of rhythm or coordination. Another might possess an instinctive ability to understand numbers or languages. But here's the truth: no one likes to admit raw talent without effort is wasted potential. Just because someone has a head start doesn't mean they'll reach the finish line first. Talent creates high expectations, but it doesn't create habits. And when someone relies too heavily on their talent, they often become lazy, inconsistent, or even arrogant. They may skip the practice, avoid the grind, and coast on what they already have, until the day they're overtaken by someone less talented but far more committed. History is full of examples. Consider the world of sports. There have been countless young athletes, hailed as the next big thing, only to vanish into obscurity because they lacked the discipline to keep improving. On the other hand, look at someone like Michael Jordan. Many don't know that Jordan was actually cut from his high school basketball team. He wasn't considered the most naturally talented, but what he lacked in raw skill, he made up for with relentless practice, ruthless discipline, and unmatched consistency. Today, he's considered one of the greatest athletes of all time, not because of talent alone, but because of the work he put in every single day. The same principle applies outside of sports. Think of world-class musicians, scientists, authors, or entrepreneurs. Few of them were the most gifted at the start. In fact, many were average, ordinary, even struggling in their early years. What set them apart wasn't talent. It was the decision to keep going, to keep learning, to keep showing up when others quit. We must challenge the myth that success is reserved for the gifted. That belief creates fear in those who feel ordinary, and it creates complacency in those who feel special. But in the real world, success belongs to those who are willing to grow, not just those who are born ahead. The problem with glorifying talent is that it removes the idea of progress. It suggests that success is predetermined, but success is not a lottery, it's a recipe, and consistency is the key ingredient. Talent might make things easier in the beginning, but the beginning doesn't matter if you don't finish the race. The world doesn't reward starters, it rewards finishers, and finishing doesn't require talent. It requires perseverance. It requires resilience. It requires effort over and over again. Let's not forget, for every talented person who quits because things got hard, there is someone with less talent who kept going and made it. That's the truth behind most success stories. It's not about who had the best start, it's about who refused to stop. So the next time you feel discouraged because you think someone is better than you, remember this. Their talent may give them a moment of advantage, but your consistency can give you a lifetime of achievement. Your steady progress will one day outshine their early brilliance because you kept going long after they stopped trying. In the end, talent may be a spark, but consistency is the flame that keeps burning. If talent gives you a head start and consistency is the long distance engine, then repetition and routine are the fuel that keep that engine running. They may not sound exciting, but make no mistake, repetition is the quiet force behind every kind of greatness. Whether you want to master a skill, build a business, or transform your life, nothing happens without consistent, repeated action. We often imagine success as this grand moment, a lucky break, a big discovery, or an instant transformation. But real success doesn't arrive in a single moment. It's built over time, layer by layer, through the power of repetition. It's found in the early mornings, the late nights, the silent hours when no one is watching. It's hidden in habits, disguised as discipline, and shaped through the routines we choose every day. Let's take a moment to look at nature. A river doesn't carve a canyon in a single sweep. It cuts through rock, drop by drop, over thousands of years. The Grand Canyon wasn't created by one mighty flood. It was shaped by consistent flow. Your journey works the same way. One day of effort won't transform you, but hundreds of days of small repeated steps will. Repetition is how the mind learns. It's how the body grows. It's how excellence is developed. When you do something over and over, it becomes second nature. At first it's hard, then it's uncomfortable. Eventually it becomes who you are. That's how a beginner becomes a master. Not through talent, but through time and repetition. Athletes train the same movements every single day, not because they're bored, but because mastery demands it. Musicians rehearse the same chords, dancers repeat the same steps, and public speakers practice their delivery until every word flows. Success isn't about doing different things once. It's about doing the right things over and over until you can't get them wrong. There's a powerful principle called the compound effect. It states that small actions, repeated consistently over time, lead to massive results. Reading 10 pages a day might not seem like much, but over a year, that's over 3,600 pages. Exercising 30 minutes daily may feel ordinary, but over time, it builds strength, confidence, and energy. Saving a little money each month might seem slow, but over years, it becomes wealth. The problem is, we live in a culture that craves speed and instant results. We want overnight success, viral fame, quick fixes, but those things fade as quickly as they come. Real, lasting success requires patience, process, and persistence, and that's where repetition comes in. It slows you down just enough to build something real. Routine gives structure to repetition. When you have a routine, you don't have to wait for motivation. You have a system. You don't ask, do I feel like it today? You already know what you need to do and when to do it. That's how you stay on track even when life gets chaotic. Routines reduce decision fatigue. They create rhythm and momentum. They free your mind so you can focus on growth. Many people fail not because they lack ability, but because they lack structure. They start strong, then lose focus. They get inspired, then drift away. But those who build routines, who show up even when it's boring or hard, they are the ones who last. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on habits, and habits, when fueled by repetition, become unstoppable. You see, talent might bring energy at the beginning, but repetition brings endurance. Routine brings direction, and consistency ties it all together. Success is not found in a sudden burst of inspiration. It's found in repeated learning and repeated effort. Let me ask you, what small thing could you repeat every day to move closer to your dream? It could be writing one page, making one sales call, reading one chapter, or practicing for 10 minutes. Do it and keep doing it. Build a routine around it. Make it automatic. Over time, that tiny action will turn into a mountain of progress, because at the end of the day, it's not what you do once that matters. It's what you do daily. Greatness isn't created in a moment, it's created in momentum. If repetition shapes your skills and routine builds your rhythm, then consistency does something even more powerful. It builds character. It strengthens the invisible part of you, your mindset, your discipline, and your identity.
Yeah.
And in the long run, who you become matters far more than what you can do. Let's be honest, consistency isn't always exciting. It's not glamorous. It often looks like showing up when no one's watching, like practicing when you're tired, like staying committed when the motivation disappears.
Right.
That's the reality, and that's where because here's the truth. Talent can impress people, but consistency earns respect, especially self-respect. Every time you choose to keep going when it's easier to quit, you train your mind to believe in yourself. You're telling your brain, I don't break when things get hard. I don't run when the spark fades. I'm not just interested, I'm committed. That belief becomes your identity. Over time, you're no longer someone who tries to succeed. You're someone who does the work no matter what.
Yeah.
Discipline is the muscle behind that consistency. People often misunderstand discipline. They think it means being strict or harsh. But discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom.
Yeah.
It's the power to control your behavior instead of letting your emotions or excuses control you. When you're consistent, even in small ways, you strengthen that discipline. You teach yourself how to delay gratification. You learn how to prioritize long-term gain over short-term comfort. That's the same muscle that leads to health, success, leadership, and confidence.
Yeah.
The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Think of the most respected people in any field, not just the rich or the famous, but those you truly admire. Chances are, they didn't just get there with raw ability. They built who they are through years of discipline, consistent effort.
Yeah.
They didn't skip the hard parts. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They committed to the process, and in doing so, they became trustworthy, focused, and strong. Consistency also teaches you resilience. When you commit to showing up daily, you're going to face resistance.
Yeah.
You'll face fatigue, criticism, and even failure.
Yeah.
But each time you push through, your character is tested and strengthened. You stop fearing hard times because you've already faced them. You become mentally tougher, more grounded, more unshakable. One of the most overlooked benefits of consistency is that it builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Think about it. When you constantly stop, break promises to yourself, or abandon your goals halfway, you begin to lose trust in your own work. But when you show up every day, even imperfectly, you rebuild that trust. You prove to yourself that you're reliable, that you keep your word, and that you follow through. That inner trust is the foundation of real confidence.
Yeah.
There's a famous quote that says, how you do anything is how you do everything. That's the hard work of consistency. If you show up with effort in the small things, waking up early, finishing a workout, completing a task, you'll show up strong in the big things. Your habits will carry into every area of your life. You become a person who doesn't just talk about success, but lowers it, breathes it, and opens it through effort and action. Now, does that mean you have to be perfect every day? Absolutely not. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about persistence. You'll have off days. You'll make mistakes. But what matters most is getting back up, returning to the path, sticking to your values, even when it's inconvenient. That's where character is formed, not in the easy days, but in the hard ones. In a world full of shortcuts, gimmicks, and instant gratification, people who live with consistent discipline stand out. They become leaders. They gain influence.
Yeah.
Not because they were born with talent, but because they trained their mind and character to rise above average. So if you want to win in the long run, don't just ask what do I want to achieve. Ask who do I want to become.
Yeah.
Because when you build character through consistency, success is no longer a goal. It becomes a natural result of the person you've become. In today's fast-paced world, we've been taught to chase excellence, to be the best, to outperform, outshine, and outsmart everyone else.
Yeah.
And while excellence is it's not the final measure of true success, because excellence without endurance is short-lived. The real champions, the ones who win in the long run, aren't just the most talented or the most brilliant. They are the ones who can endure.
Yeah.
Endurance is the ability to keep going when things get hard. It's the strength to stay on the path when the journey gets long, boring, frustrating, or painful. It's the willingness to keep walking when everyone else has stopped. And that is what separates those who dream from those who deliver.
Yeah.
The truth is, life will test your commitment. It will throw obstacles in your way, drain your energy, challenge your patience, and shake your confidence. Talent can't always carry you through that. Even excellence can falter under pressure.
Yeah.
But endurance, rooted in consistency, gives you the stamina to keep showing even when the up seems to act against you. Think of a marathon. The race isn't won in the first mile. It's not about the fastest start or the flashiest gear. It's about who keeps putting one foot in front of the other, even when their legs burn, when the crowd fades, when the finish line feels impossibly far away. That's what success looks like in it's not the spur, it's the test of stamina. The world is full of people who started strong. We all know someone who began a business, launched a passion project, went on a fitness journey, or committed to self-growth, only to give up halfway through. Not because they weren't capable, not because they were, but because they were talented, but because they lacked endurance.
Yeah.
They didn't stick around long enough to see the fruits of their labor.
Yeah.
On the other hand, look at the quiet achievers, the people who keep working behind the scenes, the ones who stay consistent year after year. They may not make headlines, they may not have viral moments, but they are always moving forward. And over time, they build success that's not only real, but lasting. Endurance allows you to work through failure without losing hope. It teaches you how to adapt, how to grow through adversity, how to fall and rise again. And when paired with consistency, endurance becomes your greatest competitive advantage. Because while others burn out, you keep going. While others need motivation, you have momentum. This is why consistency beats talent in the long run. Talent may help you launch, but endurance is what helps you land. Talent may open doors, but endurance helps you stay inside long enough to build something meaningful. And endurance isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. You build it through every early morning you push through, every setback you overcome, every day you choose discipline over comfort. True success isn't about achieving greatness once, it's about maintaining greatness over time. And the only way to do that is by being consistent enough to endure.
Yeah.
Not just when things are going well, but when they're not.
Yeah.
Not just when you feel motivated, but when you feel empty. Not just when the crowd cheers, but when no one's watching. Endurance doesn't mean never getting tired. It means you don't quit when you're tired. It doesn't mean you never get discouraged. It means you keep going even when you are discouraged. It means that your commitment is stronger than your emotions, and your vision is stronger than your fear. And here's the most empowering truth of all. Endurance is a choice.
Yeah.
You don't need to be the most gifted, the most connected, or the most lucky. You just need to make a decision. No matter how long this takes, no matter how hard this gets, I will not stop. When you make that decision and back it up with consistent action, you become unstoppable. So don't worry if you're not the most talented person in the room. Don't worry if others seem to be ahead of you. Because in the long run, they may slow down, lose interest, or give up. But not you. Because you have something greater than talent. You have the power to endure.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, endurance will carry you across every finish line. Not with a flash, but with a fire that never went out. As we come to the end of this message, let's remember the simple truth that echoes through every story of real achievement.
Yeah.
It's not talent that defines your destiny, it's consistency. Talent is a gift, but gifts can fade, they can be wasted, they can make you overconfident and lazy.
Yeah.
Consistency, on the other hand, is a choice you make every single day. It doesn't rely on luck, or genes, or how impressive your start was. It relies on your willingness to show up, to try, to learn, to grow, over and over again. We've broken down the myth of raw talent.
Yeah.
We've explored the incredible power of repetition and routine. We've looked at how consistency shapes your character and builds unshakable discipline. And we've seen that true success, real, lasting success, isn't about sprinting toward a spotlight. It's about enduring the long race, one step at a time. So what does this mean for you? It means you don't have to wait for talent to strike like lightning. You don't have to compare yourself to the gifted or the naturals. You don't need to be extraordinary today. You just need to be committed to the process. You can outlast anyone who depends only on talent. You can outwork anyone who shows up only when they feel like it. You can outgrow any limitation if you stay consistent. Because the truth is, consistency compounds.
Yeah.
It builds power slowly, quietly, but relentlessly. And one day, all those ordinary efforts will lead to extraordinary outcomes. So show up when it's hard, show up when it's easy, show up when you're tired, show up when you're inspired. Just keep showing up. Because in the long run, it's not the most talented who win, it's the most committed, the most disciplined, the most consistent. Success doesn't ask how gifted are you, it asks how long are you willing to keep going.
Yeah.
And if your answer is as long as it takes, then you've already won. Thank you.